Hi there, it's Paige here from the impactcopywriter.com. And in this video, I'm going to walk you through my step-by-step process, the process that I use anytime I build a landing page. And you're going to see me using my preferred tool, which is the Divi by Elegant Themes. It's an actual theme, but you can also use the Divi Visual Builder, which is a plugin with any theme that you have. And those are themes and plugins made for WordPress. Okay, so the goal of this video is I'm going to show you how I use Divi to recreate or to create opt-in pages. And we're going to recreate this page here, the Funnel Tools Master List. So before we jump in and get to the how-to tactical stuff, I just want to step back a little bit and show you. This is just a simple email funnel, opt-in and email funnel that I demo in another video in this series. And just to reiterate that the goal of landing pages are to get specific types of conversions. So they're more like the pillars of your funnel, and then the emails are what connect those together. So you can see here, the lead magnet opt-in page is where you get that first conversion where a visitor becomes a subscriber. And then if we had a sales page down here, then that would be a really important conversion where a subscriber becomes a new customer. So that's really the goal of your landing pages. That's where those actions happen that sustain your business and move it forward. So things like turning visitors into subscribers, turning subscribers into customers, turning customers into repeat customers. So now that we've covered the role of landing pages in the funnel, let's hop on back to our landing page here. So we're going to recreate this landing page. This is on my actual site. We're not going to create it in my actual site because I have a staging site. So I'm using WordPress engine, which I love because it has different areas where I can actually copy my live site into a staging area, build out new pages so that I don't accidentally break something and then my whole site goes down, right? So if I break it in the staging area, it doesn't affect the live site, which has happened before. So if you don't have that functionality in your hosting platform, I highly recommend WordPress engine if you're using WordPress. So we're in my staging site here. This is just a copy of the live site, and we're going to build out the new page. So all I'm going to do is in my WordPress dashboard, I'm going to go to pages, and then I'm going to add new. I'm going to name this page Demo Landing Page. And of course, you would name it whatever you're going to be advertising. This one here is called the Funnel Tools Master List. So whatever you want that permalink to be here. I'm going to go ahead down here and select the blank page template. So for your landing pages, you don't want nav bars and you don't want footers that come with your theme. So if that's set to default, your header and your footer that goes across your site will appear on your landing page, but we don't want that. That's distractions. So we're going to click blank page. I'm going to go ahead and save as a draft here so you can see the permalink. So we've got this demo landing page. You can change this if you're familiar with WordPress. You just type it in and click OK. I'm just going to leave it like that. And then we're going to enable the Divi Builder. And the most useful part of the Divi Builder is the Visual Builder. So this is the back end where you can change things, but it's not as easy to build in because you can't see what it's going to look like. So that's why I always use the Visual Builder, and it's going to pop up kind of a jumpstart wizard, at least in this version of the Divi theme. They're always adding new functionality to it. So by the time you watch this video, it could be just a little bit different if they added something. So here, if I've created opt-in pages already, I can actually just clone an existing page. It'll load that page in there, and then I can just make changes. So that's really easy. Like once you've created like one opt-in page, I recommend just cloning that and adding things to it and making the changes you need to make a new opt-in page. For the purpose of this tutorial, I'm going to build one from scratch, and actually I'll back up here and say that Divi does come preloaded with a bunch of templates. They're more site templates though, and not so much like funnel page templates. So I haven't checked, in a while to see what they have. But you're probably going to want to build from scratch or clone an existing page. So like I said, for for the purpose of this tutorial, we're going to start from scratch. Like ClickFunnels. ClickFunnels operates very similarly to this. You're going to build your page in section, rows, and I believe it's called elements. So your individual elements that go in those. So when we first launch a blank page, there'll already be one section in here, and now it's asking me to insert a row. So I'm just going to insert a row. Okay, they're not called elements, they're called modules, my bad. And then you can add a module. So I'm just going to add a text module here. And it's just going to preload some placeholder text. Now you'll see if I hover, you see this blue represents the section, green represents the row, and then you have your elements. So you can actually change what this looks like for rows. If you hover over the customization bar and you go to this one right here, then you can change how the rows laid out. If you want a 2-section column, which I use a lot in opt-in pages, with text and like an image next to it, you can do a row of 3. So the ones I use the most are either the single, the double, the 3-part column where they're all equal. And sometimes I use these 2 columns, but they're not evenly distributed. So I think this is 1/3 and 2/3, 1/4 and 3/4. So those, and in the reverse section. So they're the ones I use the most. And also this one right here. So if I want to keep text, so if you have a big row of text like this, it's hard to read because your eye has to travel from here all the way across the page. So if I have just text and I have nothing else in that section, I'll center it using this module here. So let's start building. So let's go back to our inspiration. Okay, so I'm going to need one section here with, it looks full width pretty much, and some text. So that's what I've got here. So I'm just going to go ahead and add. I'm not going to change the text, but I am going to make them. So I believe that one was heading 3 for the pre-head and heading 1. Actually, it might have been heading 2. And then I'll change. These look really terrible right now, but I'll actually change the design settings a little bit later on. But first, I just want to lay out the page. And that's going to be centered, and that's going to be centered. Okay, that'd be my hero section. And then the next one would be, it looks like a section with 2 equal columns. We have an image on the right-hand side, and we have, this is called an email opt-in, or it's email something. We'll see when we add it in. I'm pretty sure it's called an email opt-in module for the left side. So let's go recreate that. Add a new section, regular, 2 columns. So in this side, I'm going to add the email opt-in. And then we'll customize that in a second. And on this side, I'm going to add just an image. All right. Now you see I've created a footer here. This is a footer I create and add to all of my landing pages and sales pages. So I'll show you how to do that. I haven't created a header. On some of my landing pages, you'll see that I have headers that I've also created and add to specific landing pages. Let me show you one here just to see what I mean. So here you can see I have the sales page persuasion, kind of simple logo header here. So there are no links, no distractions, and you can see I have the same footer in this landing page. So let's hop on back over here and I'll show you how I do that. So I've actually created something and made it global. So when you make something global, you create an element, you can save it as global, and anytime you change it on any landing page, it'll change on all the pages where it appears if it's connected to this global element. So I'm just going to add it in here. So squeeze footer, that's my logo. And then I want the one that's the menu. Yeah, so I actually built these out. This one was a full width menu element, full width menu, and you customize that menu in the menus dashboard in WordPress. And then I just, edited the background and made sure the text links were white. And then I saved it as a global item. So how you save something as global is actually right here. So you're going to add it to library. So it's this little circle with a little arrow in it. You'll name it and then make it global. And that's what makes it change on any page. And if it's not global, you can change it on one page and it won't change anywhere else. But because I always want my footers to be the same and my headers to be the same, then I make those global. So I'm not going to do that because I don't need that change. But that's how I created these. This element is simply a section with one row with a image. And so that's my logo and a little bit of text. And then I save the entire section. So if I want to save the entire section, then I go up here to this and follow the process that I just described to you. So that's how you can quickly and easily create footers for your landing pages that you can just add in like 2 clicks and be done. And anytime that I update this menu on any page, it'll update all the pages. Anytime I update it, like I just updated my logo and all I had to do was change it in one page and it changed in all the pages. So it's really handy. It'll save you a lot of work. If I wanted to add the header, so I don't have one created for the Funnel Tools Master List, but let's say that I did, where I'm going to actually use the sales page persuasion one. And so I would just add it here. You can see the green indicates that it's global. I just add it and then move it up here. Oh, it didn't move. There we go. So that's how you can add the headers and footers. And again, this is just a section with a row with an image. And I've scaled the image down so it's logo size. Yeah, so I'll actually show you how to create one of those from scratch. And we'll just create one for this, a placeholder for this page. So I'm going to go ahead and delete that. So let's say I want to create a header. So I'm adding a section and I added a row and now I'm just going to add a placeholder image. So I'm just going to save that. Okay, there we go. Okay, now so it just adds a placeholder. Actually what I do when I'm just building out so I'm in the design settings for the image, do sizing, and then I'll just size it down to its logo size, usually about 25%. All right, this was one left over, so I'm going to delete that one. Okay, so because this is really large now, actually I'm going to remove the spacing on the row. So here I can just hover, drag that padding, get rid of it, get rid of that padding. I can hover here and actually reduce the padding. So let's do like 30 pixels. So it's really thin and it won't be too thick as a block header. So we would just add our image in here. All right, so now we have the basic wireframe. So I have placeholder text, I have my elements, and that's all we needed. Actually, let me delete this because I was just demonstrating that a while ago. This is really all we needed for this page here. You can see we have just the heading, we have a little bit of text in the opt-in form, and we have the image, and then the footer menu and the footer logo section. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in and add the text and then do some styling. So text and images and do some styling. So just for this image, all I have to do is add the image that I have created. If I can find it here, it's been a while since I uploaded that. So that's one of the, let's see if I can find it this way. Yes, here we go. So image I've already created and uploaded. Awesome. So we have a nice looking image. If you're wondering how to create these kinds of images, so to do the actual graphic here in the background, I use a tool called Canva. So canva.com, where you can create all kinds of kind of flat designs. So I'd create something. I think I used like the US letter size here, and I used their design elements. You can actually create a Canva account for free and use a lot of the functionality, a lot of the features for free. I downloaded it, and then I use a tool like Smart Mockups to create these kind of where they place it in devices. So if I went to digital mockups and I wanted like a tablet, for example, then I could just choose something, upload my image, and then download. So I do have a paid account to this service. I'm not sure how much of it you can use for free, but the paid account, it was a really reasonable yearly price. So, you know, the more assets, digital assets you create, the more sense it makes to have a paid tool like this, so you can create really nice looking graphics. So that's how I create pretty much any graphics. If we're looking at like background images like this, images like this, that's how I create all those with a tool like Smart Mockup. All right, back to our demo. Let's go ahead and insert our copy here. So I'm just going to copy and paste. And if you have a copy document, then you can just copy and paste from that as well. All right, so what I need to do here is I'm going to center this and center this, and I need to edit the stylings. So I'm going to go into the design tab, down to heading text, and I'm going to start with my H1, which is always for your headline for the page, is always an H1. I'm going to make the font light because I like the light font, and I'm just going to increase the size here. So it's real bold. I like 50. Let's do 50. And then this is heading, I believe it's a heading 2. We'll find out here in a second. Actually, no, it's a heading 3. So I'm going to click over to heading 3. I'm going to do a regular. I think this looks like a regular. It looks like it's a smaller font, and I've added some spacing between the letters. So regular, I think it's, if I remember correctly, I do like in 20. And then I'm going to add some spacing between the letters, so just increase the spacing. I'm pretty sure I use a 3. So when you're first using Divi, then you'll want to play around with your styles just to kind of see what you want to use. And then I just recreate those styles throughout my landing pages. This looks a little bit like it might be, okay, I'm actually using the different font here. That's right. So let's go back to H1. And I'm going to change that too. So this is my default font, and this you set up when you first load Divi. You set up all your settings for Divi, and then it'll just, anytime you're building out elements, it'll grab your default font first. But I'm using, I think it's permanent marker on that page. Okay, so you can see here. We just drag this down. It's a little bit bigger font, so I need to scale my size down a bit for it to fit. All right, that looks good. So what else do I need to do here? Now I've highlighted 13 tools, and I've made it one of my brand colors. So I'm going to highlight 13 tools, go here to the color tab, and I'm going to click on this blue here. Now these brand colors you also set up in the Divi customization options. So it'll come preloaded with certain colors, but you want to make sure you're putting your brand colors in at the settings level. That way you don't have to like go look for your hex codes and import and type those in every time. It'll just save you a ton of time when you're designing. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and save my draft here. Just in case, always save a lot, just in case something happens. All right, the final thing I need to customize is this little bit of email opt-in kind of section. So first I'm gonna start with the text. Let's go in here to I like to do most of the design stuff in this customizer. You can actually click in here and do stuff, but I like to do it in the customizer. So okay, so it's looking funky. I'm going to remove all of the formatting. There we go. And then I'm going to make this bold again because I'm pretty sure it was bold. I'm going to take out this title here because I didn't use this title. The button says get the free guide. Oops, that's the wrong spot. Get the free guide. It looks like I'm not using the last name. Oh, we got the footer first. Let's do the footer first. So my footer was, we never spam, rant, or sell your information. Add that in, and I'm going to center it. I will set up the email account in a second. So I usually do that last. I'm not going to use the last name. I'm going to use the first name. My success action, I'm actually not going to set that up since we're not going to make this page public, but I can either display a message like something cool or just basic, even you're now subscribed. Or a lot of times I tell them what to do next. Check your inbox for your download. Something like that. So when they opt in, it'll just display a message in place of the opt-in box. Or you can direct them to a custom URL so you can build out a custom thank you page, which is what this funnel does. And you probably saw that when you opted into this resource. And you'll create a page and just see here. This is the one for the sales page checklist. So I do just the first / because it'll automatically plug in your core domain with the rest of the link. Okay, so now I'm going to edit the background. So I don't want to use a background color for this, but now I need to go change the text color because otherwise it won't show up in my white background. So I'm going to go into design, text. I'm going to switch to the dark text color, and there we go. So let's see what else we need to do here. Looks like we have some styling for the fields and for the buttons. So there's a little bit of shadow here, and then there's actually, I think I need to change the background because it's not white because this is white and this is gray. So let's do that. So I'm going to change the background, going to this gear icon, background, add a background color, gray. Same here, background color, gray. All right, so now the background color is gray. You can see these are white already. So now I'm just going to add the border. So design, I'm going to go into fields. So the field background color, I'm just going to make sure it's already white. I like to have on my corners, this is just a preference. You can leave it the default. I like to have just 1 point, so pretty straight corners. Then I'm going to add a border, and I think I have mine set up to 2 pixels. And then I'm going to change the color, which I believe is, not sure if I remember what color I'm using. Yeah, I think it's a D. So again, that's just based on your brand colors, which I don't have set up down here because I only have a limited number of colors I can choose. So just have a list of all your accent colors. All right. And sometimes I like to use a focus border, which basically means, let's see if this one's set up. When I click on, okay, this one's not set up. So it basically means if you click on a blank, the border will change color. So let's see if this one's set up. No. So I have it set up on some of my landing pages, but not all. So if I want to use a focus border, I want to make sure this is the same. Otherwise, it'll like round it. So the previous one was 1 pixel. This one's also 1 pixel. It'll change all those for me. I want to make sure the width is the same because I don't want it to get thicker. I just want to change color. And let's say I'm going to change it to my core accent color. And then when I see how it changes color when I click on it, then that's what the focus border does. All right. I don't want to add any shadow here. I think that makes the fields look weird. So you can play around. There's so many design capabilities with Divi, which is why I prefer Divi over ClickFunnels. One of the core reasons is because I can do so much more design-wise than I can with ClickFunnels. That, and I can use Divi across my site, so I don't need to pay for a bunch of tools. And actually, Divi, I had this pulled up for you, is really, really affordable. So you'll pay, even just paying the yearly access and not doing the lifetime access, you'll pay, $89 per year when other tools like ClickFunnels is $97 for the landing page builder is $97 or $99 per month. So it's a lot more affordable. You get access to all the themes, all the plugins, and all the things included with kind of the membership, the yearly membership. So it just makes a ton of sense. All right, now we're going to go customize the button. So I'm going to go find the button here. Custom styles. I'm going to enable that. And all I really want to do is add I do want to hide this so that the icon doesn't show when you hover. I don't really like the look of that. That's just a personal preference. I'm going to add a box shadow to my button. So I like this one. Sometimes I've used this one before. I've used this one before. And you can customize those a little bit. So I just like the small shadow underneath the bottom of the button. Now, I think we've gotten all of the customization options. I'm going to go ahead and delete this because this wasn't on the original page. So I just added that to show you that you could add that. All right, let's check it against the original. It looks the same. So I'm going to save the draft. If you are on a Mac, you can hit Command-. You can actually zoom out to see it kind of in the full, kind of in more of a zoomed out view. So you can kind of see a better, what it looks like all together. So I use this a lot when I'm trying to proof and look at design and figure out if I want to move stuff certain places. So once I have everything set up and it looks like it's supposed to on the desktop version, then I want to make sure that my mobile views look okay. So if I switch over here to the tablet view, you can see that, yeah, this looks all right on the tablet view. So we've got, the form here. Sometimes I need to adjust the size of the headlines. So there's some built-in default resizing for the different mobile views for tablet and mobile. So sometimes you just want to adjust those. So if I wanted to adjust that I would go in to the design tab. I'd go down to heading. Let's say I want to make this heading 1 bigger. So I'm going to make sure I'm clicked on heading 1. Go down to heading size. Now you see this mobile icon here. I'm going to click that because it's going to open different options for different views. So I'm on tablet. So I just want to make that bigger. Play around with it here. So I kind of like 40. See what that looks like. That's a decent size, right? So there you can do that for almost all of the design elements. Like if I wanted to change like the padding here of this, I could do just mobile versions. So I could reduce the padding so there wasn't so much space here. I'm not going to worry about that now, but when I'm getting ready to publish a page, I just want to make sure all the mobile things look just as good as the desktop. Though that said, I know for a fact that most of my visitors come from desktop. They're viewing on desktop. I can see that in Hotjar. So I designed first and foremost for the desktop view because that's where 95 or more % of my visitors are coming from. If yours are coming from mobile, depending on what kind of business you have, then I would design first with mobile in mind and then clean up your desktop view. So you want to make sure you're prioritizing the view based on where your visitors are coming from. So if I just click over to mobile, then I can see that, I could go in and I can make this smaller so it's not 5 lines long. I could just do a lot of customization with this, and I won't worry about that now because I'm not going to publish this page, but I just want to show you that you can do that. And actually, now that I'm looking at it, this looks a little bit far apart. So what I'm going to do here is I'm actually going to drag this row into this section. And then I'm going to delete this section. That looks much smoother, let's say, because there's not too much space here. So that's probably what I did. Without going in, I can't see, but you can see there's very little, there's white space, but not too much. So this is probably one section with 2 rows. So that's what this is looking like now, one section with 2 rows. So those are just some things. Once you get set up, get your landing page set up and you're looking at it, you'd be like, there's too much space here, or there's not enough space here, or maybe I should move this here and this here. So it's actually really hard to do that if you're hard coding a landing page. So that's why I almost always recommend using a drag and drop visual builder. So I'm gonna go ahead and save. Now, if I wanna see what the end result looks like outside of the builder, all I'm going to do is after I've saved, I'm going to go up here and exit the visual builder. And since I'm logged in, because this page is still a draft, since I'm logged in, I can see what the live page would look like. Now, if I wasn't logged in, it would say page not found because this page isn't publicly viewable yet. So I can see it looks all right. Actually, this is why you need to test, because remember, I forgot to set up the opt-in form, and since it's not connected to any tool, it won't actually show the fields. So what I need to do is go back in and set that up. All right, so this is what was missing. So we're going to go in and set this up. And you do it from the content tab. We go under email account. And then it supports ton of email users. So if you're thinking about using Divi, make sure you check to see if your ESP and Divi are connected together. So mine is, I use ActiveCampaign. If you're just connecting for the first time, it'll prompt you to like enter certain information that you'll grab from your ESP provider, so that it'll guide you through that. But because I already have mine set up, it's not going to show it. So once I've chosen my service provider, which is ActiveCampaign, I'm just going to choose a list. So you'll already have to have this list set up in your ESP. For this particular page, it would go to my Funnel Tools Master list. And that's it. It'll be set up. So now I'm going to save as a draft. And once it's saved, we're going to go look at the live page again to make sure this is showing. And it is. So that's why it wasn't showing before, because it wasn't set up. So that's a good check they have built in to make sure that the people who actually opt into this are getting added to your list in your ESP. So now that you've seen how to set up a really, really simple opt-in page, which is basically, a headline, a pre-head, a headline, some body text, an email opt-in, and an image. This is the shortest opt-in page you'll see. Then you can also create opt-in pages that are a bit longer. So for example, the sales page checklist is a bit longer page. So we see we have the same elements, but with a logo at the top. We have similar elements at the first part in the first section, second section here. And then there's more explanation. So I have another crosshead, I have another image, I have information about what's included inside. I have an about me section, and then I have a final call to action. So you can create much longer pages with Divi. I also create sales pages with Divi, and I can show you what that looks like. So this is a sales page that I created with Divi, which is just a combination of sections, rows, and modules. So you can create pretty much a page of any length using Divi. Drag and drop, adding images. So this one's still loading here. It's a really great tool to use. It creates really nice looking landing pages and sales pages, and you don't have to have any serious design skills to be able to put one together because all the elements are already built out for you. You just load them in there and then change some of the design settings, change the copy, and you're ready to go. So if you're interested in trying Divi, make sure you check the bottom of this video for the link to where you can sign up and download Divi or the Divi Visual Builder.